This is the Weller blind battle. Okay, this next one's gonna be so clean. Ready?
Wait.
Get it out. Get all the laughs out.
Okay.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? And welcome back to the Whiskey Cove. And on today's episode, we have a very, very special episode for you. We have a Weller blind battle from special reserve up to single barrel. You know the drill. Run the video. All right then, folks, before we get into today's video, if you haven't already, go and check us out on Patreon. Link is down below, and also our Whiskey Cove website, thewhiskeycove.square.site. Everything is in the description down below, so please go and check us out for some awesome glassware. We have some awesome photos on the gallery as well, and potentially some single barrel picks coming up. So I think it's definitely a really good website to go and check out. So we have already mixed up the whiskey back here, so we don't know which is which. These bottles do not represent the whiskey. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna pause the video, we'll clear out these bottles, and then we'll get this blind barrel going. All right then, folks, so what we will do, we will start with your left to your right. So we will start here, Shane, and then we'll move through, and then we'll taste them, and then we'll go back through, and then we'll taste them again. So we are doing the Weller lineup here. We don't have the William Rue Weller because we're not millionaires. We're not very lucky to find that unicorn.
Far from it.
So what do we have here today? And we don't know, again, the order. So we're going to be tasting Weller Special Reserve, Weller 12, Weller Antique 107, Weller Full Proof, Weller Single Barrel, and Weller c.y.p.b. So let's get into it. Glass number 1.
Which is not the same. I'm not drinking the same here.
You are drinking, we are drinking the same whiskey. So everything's the same. Your glass 1 is my glass 1, your glass 2 is my glass 2, and so on and so forth. That's good. There's not generally going to be a bad whiskey here. So when we say that it's good.
I do get a little bit of fruit on this one.
Yeah, I think this is very inviting, those. I think it has a really, really nice, rich sweetness up front. I think rich is the key word there as well. Really nice oak backbone. No off-putting cereal notes that you generally don't get from Wellers anyway. Yeah, I'm definitely getting some like a little bouquet of fruit there as well. I think a red berry. What type of sweetness do you think that is, Shade?
Kind of like a raspberry.
Like what type of sweetness do you think it is? Do you think, do you think it's sweet? Do you think the one's a sweet glass?
The smell, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do have like a sweet fruit smell.
Oh yeah. Let's go in for a taste because we ain't reviewing these. That's nice. It's quite thick, quite hot as well.
Yeah.
A little proofy. She's a little proofy. Has a really nice sweetness to it as well. Nice wood running through. What do you think? He needs a second.
It's an instant hot, but
yeah, straight on the palate, straight on the mouth there.
but it doesn't linger.
Okay.
It's a hit it and get it.
A little bit of a theme with Weller, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah.
I think it has like it does have some barrel char with this one, which is really nice.
Barrel charred.
Barrel char, so kind of like the ground, like the blackened inside of a barrel. When you toast the barrel, you stick your head in, you smell that fresh, burnt, sweet oak note. I think that's a pretty good start. Yeah. So that's glass 1. Yeah, I like that a lot.
All right.
It'll cleanse your palate, yeah. And then what we'll do between each one, we might pause the video, but we'll have a little bit of water just to reset it a little bit. Guess with cheers and everything. If you know, you know. Okay, so glass 2 here, Shen. Okay, this is different. Even though it's Weller, it definitely is different from glass 1.
I'm not smelling as much fruitiness on it.
Yeah, I think that might be fair to say.
Oaky, pretty oaky on that, which again, like you said, is pretty
common theme with Buffalo Trace or Weller Bourbon in general. Yeah, I think the nose is a little bit tamer on this one. I think there's not too much going on. There's not the same sweetness as we will get from glass 1. But there is a cakey note there. It's really strange. Is there an American cake? Maybe it's like something in the Hostess. You know, the Hostess cakes, like a round cake that has like it kind of had like a wet spongy cake. Is there such thing about them?
Because in the kind of Little Debbie thing, or
potentially, it kind of has this kind of like wet syrupy cakey vibe to it.
Yeah. I could.
But it's a little bit.
I can see that.
It's a little tamer than the first glass, though. I'll definitely say that. Okay, let's go for it. we're not going to cheers each one. We'll cheers the first one, we'll cheers the last one, because otherwise it'll just be ching all day.
I don't get any hotness right away.
She's very tame, isn't she? Especially coming off the back of that first one.
Yep. That first one, you instant hot.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of heat on that one.
I don't even get a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think
that's a very.
There's not much notes there, is there?
No.
If I think about it, there's not too much going on there. There's maybe a little bitterness there, and I don't mean bitterness in a bad way. I mean bitterness in like a spicy, have you ever tried the Trader Joe's espresso bean covered with chocolate?
No.
So they do that, and you taste in it. You have a little bit of
Well,
sweetness.
like coffee bean.
Yeah, you taste that, and you have the bitterness from that, and the sweetness of the chocolate. Kind of reminds me a little bit of that there. But
oh my gosh, I love that. That drink's really.
Oh, you like it?
Yeah. At the end, I want to know what it is.
Sure. Well, that's good to know, because I think you tend to like the easier to drink whiskey so far. But I'm glad you like it.
Yes. All right.
So it's glass number 3 next. I think this one has more similarities on the nose to glass 2 than 1. I'm definitely not picking much up from here as well.
You got that obvious oak. That again,
yeah.
every single one of these is gonna have.
That kind of traditional Weller oak.
And I'm picking up a little bit more berries on this than the first one, but similar to the second.
Yeah, I'm getting kind of like a raspberry jam compote. Isn't that what they say in America? Like the
what?
Compote, is it?
Compart?
No, it's like a raspberry jam, and you like put it on like oatmeal and stuff like that. It's like a compote.
Jelly?
Yeah, I get you. Raspberry jelly, I guess. Yeah, that stuff. It's kind of more of a jammy note as well.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm picking up a little bit of green apple as well, which I haven't picked up from Weller for a little while.
I don't notice this until you say it, and then I'm like, yes, that's what it is.
Maybe like a greeny kind of like a sweet green apple.
Yeah.
Maybe transitioning into a red a little bit there. It's quite an inviting nose. It's not a hot nose whatsoever, but it definitely has some really nice notes there. And then you definitely get more of like a cakey vanilla, or more of like a.
If you're going off the first one,
frosting.
you smelt the hotness.
Definitely.
Not this one though.
No, I think this is quite well balanced on the nose.
All right.
Let's go for a pour.
That apple taste that you were talking about, that's there.
Definitely is.
I don't know if you're accurate or I'm accurate, but I taste it faintly. But I do taste it.
I think the mouthfeel on this one is good.
Yep.
Really oily as well. I think it coats the mouth really well. It has a dry, tobacco-y, leathery finish here as well. But I think this is probably the most balanced for me thus far.
I'm going to say kind of the same thing.
Okay.
That second one, the first one, hot, right?
Okay.
Like you had like a 10 hot. The second one, yeah, I felt no hot, right?
No heat, like.
This is no heat.
Hot, no hot.
Hot, no hot. This is
a little bit hot.
A little bit hot, but not much though.
Okay.
So yeah.
That's I guess that ties into what I was saying about how balanced it kind of tastes like, which is.
I like it.
Yeah, nice.
All right.
So I think we're going to go into glass 4 here. So I do get a really strong cherry note from this guy. Like this is very effervescent. I think
I hate to continuously piggyback off you because every time you say it, I instantly
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Maybe like more of like a. Have you had creme brulee before?
Yep.
I'm sure you have, right? Kind of has like a really nice sweet, like glazed caramel vanilla note there as well with the cherry.
Ooh.
That is nice.
I mean, I'm sticking my whole nose in there, but
yeah,
that
you got a sucker in there.
that has a good smell to it.
Yeah, I think it has a little bit of spice on the nose as well.
And what I'm also noticing is this one isn't as oily, but like it doesn't. Yeah, like if you swish it a little bit, it doesn't stay on the glass as long as potentially some of the others.
I get that.
So.
I think this probably has the best nose so far for me. So far.
I think it's a good close second.
I think you've actually liked.
The second one.
I think you've actually liked quite a lot of them thus far, right?
You have liked what?
Quite a lot of them.
Yeah.
The first one maybe a little bit too proof forward, but since then it's been a win-win, right?
Win.
Yeah.
First one, a little too hot for me.
I get that.
Not a bad thing.
No, I get that.
A little too hot.
Everybody's palate, right? Cheers, man. We'll cheers this one. Oh. Okay, so that does feel a little bit more proof forward on the mouth. A little bit more spicy. But with that, it also does have a little bit more complexity. It does have more barrel char, and that kind of creme brulee note does come through as well. And that oak is just, it's just sitting right here on the inside of my mouth. It's just those oak tannins just definitely clinging to the mouth there as well.
This surprises me from the smell to the taste.
In what way?
It was such a tame smell to me.
Yes, yeah.
And then,
bingo.
and I'm not saying it's hot.
No,
It
definitely.
wasn't that first one, right? But it definitely would surprise me a little bit from what I smelt.
Yeah,
the notes from that, and then tasted it. It was just a little surprising, but I like it.
It didn't nose hot at all, but there's definitely a little bit of spice and definitely heat.
Bit in there, but nothing you would expect from the smell.
No, definitely not. And that's a really good kind of advertisement for some great bourbon as well. Sometimes you'll know some whiskey and it smells hot or it doesn't smell hot, and then you taste it in something completely different, which is the story of bourbon, which is why we love bourbon. It's because it just constantly changes and brings on different flavor notes. Like we may try these at the same whiskeys in a year's time, we'll get like different flavor notes from them, which is the fun of whiskey. But I do like this whiskey. I think there's a pretty solid one. So we have 2 left, folks. Let's reset our palates and then move on to the last 2.
Much like that last one, it has a very tame.
Yeah, it has a very similar nose to the last one, actually, doesn't it?
Yeah. And going along with the theme, I'm wondering if this is going to be a hot turd.
Oh, you think it's going to be a higher profile whiskey?
Yeah, because I didn't get that on the first one. I didn't get that on the second one. That I'm really.
So I almost get like a little touch of like maple syrup on this one, because it smells quite sweet on the nose, and I feel like it has that type of burnt sugar note to it. And then with that as well, there's a really nice oak presence there as well. The cherry is just there on this one too.
I smell the cherry.
Yeah,
I know I keep piggybacking off what you say, but
it kind of has a bit of an old-fashioned vibe to it, doesn't it? If you smell it, like depends how you make, if you make it with the aromatic bitters.
That's the thing. I think my sensitivity, I don't necessarily, I can't define it. Like I know what I'm smelling. I don't know what I'm smelling, and it is what it is. And then somebody says that's what it is. I'm like, yeah,
I see it.
Yeah.
And that's just the beauty of getting into whiskey, drinking whiskey, and building up your own palate and profile. It's one of the more funner things about whiskey. Like when you're going through that process, you might just be like, fuck, I can't really explain what these notes are. But then when you look back on where you were at then, it's just like this really exciting time when you're getting to know the fundamentals of what bourbon is about. And that's essentially where you're at right now, and that's awesome. And I think what you can, maybe you can't pick apart the notes in a whiskey, but you know a good whiskey. That's where you're at. You're like, I know I like this whiskey. I know it's a good whiskey.
But
I can't tell you why.
Tell me why right now.
Sure. But that's the beauty of that.
Before we taste,
we haven't even tasted it yet.
The consistency though, you can see it's a little bit more thick than some of the other ones.
She definitely is a little bit thick.
She a little thick.
Yeah, she's definitely a little thick. She reminds me of the time in Jamaica.
What did they say there?
She a little bit thick, man. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Cheers, that one.
It wasn't as hot as I thought it was going to be. I was wrong about that. It's very tame. Right.
Yeah, I think it's actually a little bit. I get a cereal note from it, which is reminiscent of a lot of wheated bourbons, but I generally don't get them from Weller wheated bourbons, but I did from this. I think this is
cereal.
Cereal, yeah. I think this is a good, and I don't want to put words into what you're thinking, but I think the nose was so much better than the palate. That's my thinking behind this one.
Again, I'm not going to piggyback because I think that this was a good taste.
Okay.
I think this is, the notes when we were smelling it I was expecting something a little worse, to be honest.
Okay, really?
I actually am surprised. I went the opposite direction.
Definitely,
and we keep going at that, like
flip-flopping and all that.
Definitely see the difference between somebody who's very experienced and somebody who's had maybe a year and a half of just barely starting this hobby. But
I don't think this is a bad whiskey. I think the nose was just so good, and the palate was just okay. It kind of just sat a little bit. It sat down a little bit.
I like that taste. I like that. I mean, when you were talking about the oily taste,
Yeah.
I get that from there.
So really thick
Yep.
mouthfeel.
So you don't go like dry.
Sure.
It like coats your entire mouth, and
Yep.
you just that's where you're at.
I
for
get that.
Cool. Like it.
So last one, before we get into the last one,
Sad.
cheers. Let's cheers this. Let's kind of get it. She looks a little darker, Shane, if I'm honest, mate. And I haven't really been looking at the colors so much because sometimes the colors will give me a good inclination in the whiskey, but it can also lead me in a false direction.
Now I know you don't want to swirl whiskey, not like you're drinking wine or anything.
Yeah,
but
you want to coat the glass.
so that's exactly what I was doing.
You want to coat the glass there.
And it is little thick,
I don't think.
but not too bad. And the color alone, I'm getting a little like maple syrupy almost.
We've had some really good whiskey so far, but just it's weird how they say when you taste food, when you eat them, a lot of that is based upon just visual. You basically like 40% of what you've already eaten is before you've even eaten it and just looked at it. And just how I look at it in the glass is really appetizing. But let's go in for a nose here. That is there's a fantastic sweetness, you have fantastic spice, you have fantastic
Beautiful
oak.
smell.
So balanced. So balanced.
Yeah.
I hope it carries through to the palate
see
here.
it.
Yeah,
do you
cheers this
think?
one. Let's go for it.
Oh, that's different.
Very oaky. Definitely viscous in
So-
the mouth. Clings to the inside of the mouth there. Doesn't go away.
Not hot.
Definitely not hot. Very
No
drinkable.
hot, but very oaky. Very oaky.
I like that in a whiskey, that it doesn't drink too poofy, but you do get some really great flavor profile notes from that as well. I think for me, there is a really nice woodness that goes through this whole glass, and I'm still kind of chewing my mouth about that as well. You constantly keep doing it, right?
You like retasting it almost every single.
Yeah. It's kind of like, so it's the gift that keeps on giving, I guess, is what we're saying with that. But very drinkable.
I'd buy a bottle of that.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Can't wait to see what it is.
Yeah, to be continued, right?
All right.
So, what we'll do is we will pause the video, we will taste back through them, we'll put them in our own personal orders, and then when we come back, we will share our results with you folks, so stay tuned. So after much, and when I say much, it's much deliberation. I think we spent like a good 15-20 minutes on here, and I guess we have no idea what each other chose at this point. So this is going to be number 1, and then this will be number 5. So without further ado, what do we have? Number 5. I had E for Echo.
C for Charlie.
Okay. The answer key in my pocket. So for E for Echo, I had Special Reserve, and you had Full Proof, which makes sense because you said there was a little bit hot for Full Proof.
Yeah.
And then for me, I said the green one over there. So I'm going to put this guy over here. So the next up, we look at glass 5. So for glass 5, I had glass A, which was, what do you have?
B.
B, I had Single Barrel, which is the most expensive whiskey on this list.
For your second.
And you had B, which is really interesting. And if you've watched all the videos leading up to this, you'll know why. And you had B, which is c.y.p.b, which is you give like 92 rating.
That's my favorite.
That's probably not. It's not your favorite.
Oh my gosh! All right.
So we'll put her over there for the time being, and then glass number 4 is B for me for Bravo. F. So I've said c.y.p.b there, and you said F, which is 12 year. So you said Weller 12 year there for your 4th place. And for third place, so we're getting to the shiz here, and at the end we'll just reiterate what Shane said for his.
Wait,
so third place.
Yep, okay.
I said D for dog, and you said?
A.
So I said Antique 107, and he said Single Barrel. Shane said Single Barrel.
All right, I can see that.
Yep, and for second place, I said F for Foxtrot.
D for Delta.
So F is going to be 12 year, so the black one.
Oh, that's I was showing this earlier, but I'm sorry.
And then you said
Delta.
for Antique 107, so you said the Antique 107. So then for first place, and the most important result here, I said C for Weller Foolproof.
E.
And you said
Echo.
Special Reserve, which makes a bit of sense actually, because you like a very drinkable whiskey.
Yeah.
So for me, I said Foolproof for number 1, Weller 12 for number 2, Antique 107 for number 3. And probably the big takeaway here, Shane, is these two are probably the more expensive ones. And I said this for 4th place, 5th place, and then Weller Special Reserves for 6th place. And let's switch them up for you here, and then we'll switch these up for Shane. And just seeing like your lineup there, it really does make like total sense to me here, because you're not at the point in your whiskey journey where higher proof is like your jam. You're looking for something that's very drinkable, has a little bit of taste with it as well.
Yeah.
So what is the main takeaway for Shane here is that this costs a lot of money, this costs a lot of money, this costs a lot of money, and this doesn't really cost too much money, which is great because I can get you that bottle of whiskey pretty consistently.
Yeah.
And Weller Special Reserve is a great bottle of whiskey as well, because you pay $30 for it at MSRP, $40 at MSRP. I think it's 45% ABV, and it's sometimes because the other Wellers it gets like heralded in a high regard, but I think that it drinks really well. But just seeing your lineup here, Shane, any thoughts about that?
Surprised a little bit.
In what way?
Well, again, prior to this, I had single barrel.
Yep.
I think I'm touching that right one.
Yeah.
And then
c.y.p.b.
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 p.b.
PB?
And I loved this whiskey.
Yeah, you
I
had a
really did.
big
But
fan of
it
it.
came in second to last on mine.
Yeah,
which is just
really surprising, really, isn't it? When you have it in a bit of a blind.
Yeah. And then obviously my first, the Special Reserve,
It's
which
the
is
cheapest. I don't know.
and I'm glad. I'm glad of that.
It's not a bad result, is it?
If I want the best to be the cheapest, of course. Yeah.
And what's also really funny is the second cheapest is.
No.
Yep.
Is it really?
Yeah, that's the second. That's the second cheapest. That is the Weller.
I have a cheap palate.
Well, then you go to the third one, which is the most expensive. So.
Yeah. I'm surprised about this.
Yeah, me too. You know, it's just one of those things when you try them in a blind. Although we tried through them a few times, you don't generally know.
Right.
You can't just maybe if you sat at one or maybe sat there, but.
And I do want to point out that this is the first Weller I've tried, and this was the second Weller. This is the second Weller I've tried. I hadn't tried this, or this.
Yeah.
But
I think that you really liked Weller Special Reserve because it was just so easily drinkable and really approachable, right?
A good smooth notes, good smooth taste, all the way down. Everything was perfect.
So hopefully you enjoyed today's video, folks. We did eventually do the Weller blind here. And as we say on this panel, as we drink through the world's whiskies, and we'll choose glass number 1. The other one there. Cheers.